Hello, everyone. My name is Langston Clark, and I am an associate professor in the College of Education and Human Development, also in HCAP. And I want to just take this time to take you through the different steps that I use to become debt free. And so there's like a lot of different programs out here. I guess like the godfather of becoming debt free is Dave Ramsey's. I use one based upon the church that I grew up in and the leader there who is recently retired. And I'm just going to go through the different steps to become debt free that I follow based upon a book called Say Yes to No Debt 12 Steps to Financial Freedom. Step number one is to admit the problem. A lot of times people don't want to admit that they have issues with managing their problems, with managing their money, because oftentimes it could be embarrassing. But one of the things that we need to do internally is admit that, like, maybe we have too much debt. Maybe we went to school and we're a first generation college student and we didn't realize how much it was going to cost, or that debt was going to accrue daily, or that maybe we're just not good at managing our money. The second problem is to address the mess. And what that means is like you start writing down some of the issues that you have, where all your debts are, what your bills are. It's the first step in the budgeting process. And the second part is addressing your attitude. And so this means that we're taking time to reflect on what our attitudes and values are towards money. And this is probably one of the most important steps because it allows us to not place blame on external forces, but allows us to look internally on what we can do better with our money. And the fourth step is to start the plan. And so once we sort of addressed our own sort of internal issues with our attitudes, like we can think clearly about a logical strategy for getting out of debt and managing our money better. And the second part is to steer the power, right? And so where it says here is like get control, and it says you'll create a spending plan and start power savings and start making power payments, and set retirement goals. And so the idea behind like this framework for becoming debt free is to not only get you to be debt free, but to get you to be financially stable into retirement, into your older years. And then we set the timer. So this idea about setting a timer is sort of like rooted in the idea that a goal without a deadline, right? It's just a dream. And so in order for people to reach their goals, one of the motivating factors is to have a timeline or a deadline for when we reach our goals. So maximizing the margin basically means that, like, cutting out the things that you don't need. And so where do you have margin? Where do you have gaps or spaces that in your budget where you can take that money and put it towards debts or savings is one of the next steps. And the second part is to minimize stress. And so this is a part of getting ahead. You will save more money, buy insurance, conduct estate planning, create or update a will, and plan for retirement. And so once you have a plan and you have these things implemented, you begin to minimize your stress when it comes to your debts because you have less delinquencies. Maintaining focus. Maintaining focus is about sort of like going back to this idea about like changing your attitude. There will always be times in your process of becoming debt free where you might lose focus, right? There may be a season where there's tons of marriages going on. So like right now in my life, not only did I get married, but my wife and I have a number of other people's marriages to attend. And that has become a bit more costly than even our own marriage. And so we've had to adjust and maintain our focus on our goal to pay off our house. Investing in others. And so the idea of becoming debt free, the idea of becoming financially free or financially stable, financially independent can be very attractive to many. But on the flip side of things, like the negative of that is that we don't want to become greedy, right? And so in order to not become greedy, talks about like the principle of giving. And the principle of giving is that like you can share what you might learn from this debt-free process with other people. You can determine what charities or what movements and things like that you want to invest in with some of the spare money that you have in your margin. And then number 11, when you're debt free, is to ignite like a D-free living, right? And so this is the give back part, right? You'll maintain a great credit score, build wealth, complete the D-free trainer training, which means that like you learn to be a trainer, to train other people to become debt free. And then you accumulate the D-free hours, right? So there's 14 hours that you give to helping other people become debt free or go through the D-free process, and identify a place to serve. And so the idea is that you become debt free, but then you help other people become debt free. And so this goes to like impacting the culture, right? And so we want to promote and build a culture of fiscal responsibility, personal responsibility, but then also this idea of being responsible for and to your community and impacting other people around you. So I would like to thank the Adobe Institute for giving me this opportunity to share the 12 steps that I followed for becoming debt free. The first time when I paid off my student loans, and then now again as I work with my wife to pay off our house. Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity. Goodbye.